Hello? Creativity! We're painting with Cyra the Artist today? Welcome everyone to When Creativity Calls, and today we are here with Cyra the Artist.
Hey!
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, of course.
And for welcoming us to your lovely studio
Yes.
with all of your artwork here. Usually we're in the other studio, so it's nice to be on location.
Especially with
Nice,
all your
right?
amazing artwork behind us.
Thank you so much for having me, of course.
Oh yes. So we're super excited because we get to paint with Cyra today.
Yes.
So if you want to tell us a little bit about what we'll be painting.
Well, today we're going to be painting tiger lilies. These are one of my favorite flowers. Orange is my favorite color, and flowers are always awesome. So.
Yes.
Plus, it's starting to be summertime, so I think the
Yes.
bright orange is a good color to start with.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
For the warm season to come.
Yes. All right, so how do we get started here?
So you guys, it's always best to start painting your background first. Work back to front. Simply because you want the item that's in the foreground to actually look like it's in the foreground and sitting on top of something.
Got it.
So I would choose a brush that's somewhat medium size, nothing that's too large, too huge. And you can use whatever color you want for your background. I'm probably going to do like a fairly light yellow, simply because our flower is really orange.
Wonderful.
So it's entirely up to you. And we have water and brushes, and you can use the paint however you wish. If you want to lighten the color, of course, add some white. If you want to thin it out, add some water.
All right. Awesome. So, Cyra, so how did you originally get started painting and doing art? Was it something that just kind of came to you, or did people start to tell you, like, you're really good at this, you should probably look into this more?
So it's a little bit of both. I have been creating artwork since I was a kid. I used to draw on everything with crayons and pencils and markers as a kid. And it kind of just spurred my mom into buying me a nice little dual-sided easel. One side was a chalkboard, the other side had the roll of the butcher paper.
Yeah,
and so
I remember
would always
those.
just sit there and consistently draw. And I remember one day my aunt Renee, she had me sit down on my bed and she said, I'm going to draw you. And she drew me, and mind you, I'm like about 6. So to me, this was like the best thing I had ever seen in my life. Now, do I remember how good she actually drew me? No.
Oh, you mean you don't still have that photo?
No. I wish. That would be amazing, to be honest. But no, she drew me, and ever since then, I just remember I continuously tried to replicate how well she drew.
Nice.
And so that kind of, I guess you can say, catapulted me into art and kind of taking art seriously.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So, what brought you from like being inspired by your aunt and painting for fun to actually like painting for a profession? How did you transition?
Well, college, so high school, all of my electives were, every last one of them were either art or cooking of some sort.
Nice.
So things that I thoroughly enjoyed doing. And I wanted to go to art school. My mother was like, no, you're not going to be a starving artist. I can't have you do that. You need to go for something practical. And so luckily for me, I'm also a writer. So I convinced her to allow me to go to school for English, for writing specifically. And she said, okay, that's good. We can work with that. Well, of
Compromise,
course.
right?
Yes, of course. Lo and behold, we get electives in college too. So following suit with my high school days, I definitely took art as an elective. And my professor, Drake Davis, he kind of, I guess you can say, convinced me to go ahead on and add on an extra major.
Nice.
And so I called my mom. I told her what was going on. She's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? She's like, I need you to make sure this is what you really want to do. She's like, the only thing I ask is that you take at least one teaching course so that if you need to, you can at least, propel yourself into teaching.
Yes.
And this way you'll always have some sort of, income based into what you
Right.
majored in
You always
school.
have to have plan B for just in
Right.
case.
And so that's pretty much how it happened. And I really wasn't that much into painting. I was more of a drawer, a sketch artist, and I was really into digital art, to be completely honest.
Now, I do see behind us you do have several portraits done. Do you find it that you do portraits more, or
Oh, yeah.
flowers, or what is your favorite?
I definitely consider myself more of a portrait artist or a figure painter, for that matter. I learned in my college years, my undergraduate years, that I was very much so inspired by people and their stories. And so I learned kind of quickly that I wanted to replicate and depict, you know, their emotions and their stories in kind of like a freeze frame painting. And I've always been definitely very much so attracted to realism, so this is kind of why I paint that way.
Is each person an actual person, or is it someone that you thought up?
No, I actually know. I would say a good 90% of the people that I've painted I actually know in real life.
Oh,
They
wow.
were good friends of mine in college, some of my sorority sisters or my fraternity brothers, and you know, just because of assignments needed to be done in class, I would say, hey, I need a favor. Would you mind you know, taking a photo for me? Would you mind doing a photo shoot for me? And so that's pretty much how it got started. And I just listened to their stories. You know, we would talk during the whole photo shoot, you know, just to get the emotion that I was looking for, or it would just be something kind of just done on the fly. And it always turned out to be exactly what I wanted.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's hard to find when you do something and it's exactly what you want.
Oh yeah.
All right. What do you think of this so far?
I love it.
Good to go?
Oh, you guys are so much farther than me.
I don't look. Take your time. I think it's something that should be rushed.
I like that.
So you mentioned that you started off in New York City. How did you end up here in Houston?
So yes, I was born in New York, but for my high school years, my mother wanted us to move to the Poconos in Pennsylvania because she just wanted me to have a more grounded high school experience, and so that's where I was. And then my mother went to an HBCU, so when it came time for junior year, and I would hear all these wonderful things about HBCUs, so I did my research, and I wound up taking about a semester off after high school graduation, but I wound up going to Grambling State University in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Never been there in my life. Never been there in my life. Never had any family, but I love to travel. So that's where I went to college, and that's kind of where I found myself more so as an artist. And then after a few years, after I graduated college, I knew I wanted to move to a bigger city, but I really loved being in the South. And so, luckily for me, I have lots of friends who live here in Houston.
Yeah.
So I came down for one of their birthday weekends, and they did everything they could to convince me.
Clearly, they did a good job.
They really did. And so I moved here legitimately a week after Harvey, and
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, a week after
Literally,
Harvey. So
there
for
was still
anyone
flooding.
who doesn't know about Harvey was a hurricane that hit Houston, and it was devastating to almost everyone in Houston. So for her to come here and stay after Harvey, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying. I'm
Oh,
glad we didn't
yeah.
scare you away with
No.
the feet and feet and feet of water that
Coming from Louisiana
Came down.
and all that kind of rain and the hurricanes, I was kind of
You're ready.
used to it.
Okay, so they prepped you for it then.
Just a little bit.
So you moved on to the next step.
Yes. So this is acrylic paint that we're using right now, and I'm normally, at least for my personal art, I paint in oils. Just because oils stay wet, number one, and it's easy to work with, and it's kind of like smooth like butter.
Okay.
But we're using acrylics just simply because they dry fast, and I wanted you guys to be able to take them home.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
you're welcome. But you can use acrylics to get the effects that you want. So I always believe that you should start with your lighter tones, your lighter colors first, and then blend into them, and then add the darker ones later. So like you see here on this petal, I've already added some yellow, which is already starting to dry, which is fine. I'm gonna then start adding some oranges, like you see here in the picture, and then work it back and forth with the light yellow, maybe a little white to brighten up some areas.
Okay. Is there anything we should remember about our strokes when painting over paint?
It's acrylic paint, so it dries fairly quickly, and you have to remember to not be cheap with your paint. Keep using more paint. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to go back and use more paint. A lot of people, they tend to try and blend with dry paint, and it doesn't work. So I would say that's the first thing I would definitely say, is to just remember to, use the paint. That's what it's there for.
Awesome. So would you say that there's a good art scene here in Houston for you? And if so, where are your favorite artsy spots to go?
Honestly, I can't lie. I work a lot, so I haven't gone to too many places. But the art scene here in Houston is actually fabulous to me. there are so many opportunities. Like every week, every other week, there's always something going on. Whether Spring Street Studios has their open studios, or whether there's like kind of a pop-up shop, or there's a big art show somewhere in like a warehouse. I've gone to one of those for a few of my friends. And it's just kind of awesome because you just never know where in Houston the art scene is going to take you. I've been to like so many random places that are nowhere near where I live. But, you know, I'm either there supporting a friend, or I'm there just with a friend, and we're just, you know, kind of hanging out for the night. And it just so happens that, hey, we're here at a fashion show, or we're here at, you know, this gallery that just opened, or, you know, and it's just, to me, it's really awesome because a lot of people are learning to, I would say, embrace their creative sides more so than people have been before.
Nice. Very cool. All right, tell me if I'm doing this right here. Then
Yes.
I add the darker orange on the outside? Okay.
Yes, you definitely want to kind of go with that darker color on the outside. And it's also important to remember you can switch brushes, smaller ones.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people, they'll stick to one brush, but I definitely like to switch to smaller brushes just to, you know, kind of maneuver the paint. And don't be afraid. It's just paint. You can always paint over something.
All right, I will keep that in mind. I'm great at mistakes.
Oh yeah, sometimes happy accidents, man. A lot of art can be happy accidents, to be completely honest.
I like that, a happy accident. I've never heard that before.
Really?
I'm gonna use that. I'm now stolen your.
That's okay. Just give me a little
phrase.
credit from time to time.
Will do.
So I know you probably had a showing once you graduated of your artwork. What was that like, and what was your first professional showing here in Houston like?
Wow. Okay. So my first show, my solo show in college was awesome. I was stressed to the max, y'all.
Getting everything done.
Yes, it's so stressful, but it was fun and it was amazing. All of the people who were in my photos actually came. Who were in all of my paintings, they actually came.
That's awesome.
And so it was great for me to see the audience who had never seen my work and see the people standing next to their pieces and just to compare and like, whoa, that, you know, that's you. Or they'll see them walking down the street like, hey, I saw you in Dunbar, which is the art building in Grambling. So, you know, that was always awesome. And my show was titled Empathy and Enlightenment because I strive to just personally form a bridge, I guess you could say, to kind of build a bridge between people with my artwork, because I guess that's also why I like to paint people. I want to kind of invite the audience into someone else's world and kind of just question, who is this person? How did they get here? What's their story? Why are they laughing?
Yeah. Or why are they crying?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of, you know, what I wanted to do, and the cool thing was it actually worked. People would just say, what were you thinking when you were posing for this photo? You look so, you know, you look so serious, or you're like hilarious. Did she make you laugh? A lot of people, when they see artwork, they don't realize that they do it, but they kind of think of themselves. So they'll see somebody in a specific pose or doing something specific in a photo, and they'll kind of imagine themselves doing that. Like, what would I do if that were me?
Yeah.
Or what would I be thinking about if I had to laugh that hard?
Yes.
And so, you know, it kind of builds a bridge between people of different races and cultures, and just people that you may never meet, you know, outside of in the gallery. And it causes you to just take a step back and to kind of humanize yourself and humanize other people.
Love that. Love it.
You know, the few days that I did go, it may have been like 5 days that I actually worked on the painting, but every day, you know, she would just talk to me. She's like, okay, go take a break, eat, but, you know, don't stop, just come back. And so when I wound up finishing the painting, I like cried because I hadn't finished the painting in like 4 years.
Aww.
And it's kind of, well, because I'm also a writer, it's literally the artist equivalent to writers.
Very unassuming.
You know what I mean? But he just had this kind of star quality about him. Something about him just always made you want to get to know him. And so for me, you know, when I caught his face and he's kind of like laughing and kind of blushing, it's kind of like the epitome of who he was at that time. You know, he knows that people want to know who he is, but he's still very much so humble in himself, regardless of how great you think he is. He's still like, you know, I'm just a regular guy who likes to make art. So, but Monday Wiley, oh God, if I could just one day meet him.
So the word is out there now. Everyone knows.
Yes, you're manifesting it.
Yes, I manifested it in my life. Affirmations can Henry Wiley and I will meet and have a wonderful conversation about art.
So you said you're a dream artist. What about your dream subject? What do you think?
That's a
Yeah,
great
you
question.
could like feature anybody.
Oh wow,
Make a
anybody?
portrait or a picture or.
If I could paint anybody, who would it be?
Who would it be?
I can't even lie to you guys. If I could paint Kerry Washington,
Yes!
that woman is phenomenal.
She is. She's great.
What? I love her. She's an amazing actress and activist, and she's
And
so
activist.
beautiful.
It's
and she
true.
just has this beautiful spirit, and I love that about her. How genuine and authentic she is, but she's so driven, and she just always has her nice job. She always has her hand. She always has her hand in so many different things, and she's so successful at them. And I love that she's so thoroughly encouraging to other people. I would love to paint a portrait of Kerry Washington. If and just to have her have it in her hands, I think would be amazing.
Yes!
Definitely. See, now you guys, I'm gonna go on Instagram and start sending DMs. I'm like, hey, so I'm an artist.
The worst thing that could happen is you get a no, right?
Oh yeah. And you know, my mother always said that. She's like, the worst thing I could do is tell you no. No is one of the smallest words in the English language. Once you hear it as one syllable, that's it. You just keep trying, or you do something else until you get your yes. So
Never heard the part about it being the smallest one of the
it's one of the smallest words in the English
just
language.
one
like,
syllable. Don't be afraid of that.
oh yeah. And so every time I go up for something big or a job interview or even when I wanted to come here and I was, wanted to get a studio space here, and I was just like, okay, prayerfully, whomever I may be moving in with, hopefully they like me. All they can do is tell you no. Because I kind of have anxiety. I don't like to be told no.
I think we all
Nobody
have
does.
that a little bit.
But it just
Fear of
makes me
no.
really nervous, regardless of how many times people say, "Oh my God, your work is amazing." I'm just like, I can always do better. Like, it's not that great. I can always, do better, do more. And so, for me, I always think about my mom and that mantra. She's like, "Look, relax, breathe, be yourself. If they tell you no, you say thank you, you smile, but you try something else, or you try a different avenue."
Yeah.
And so, I always try to make sure I keep that before me every time I decide to try something new.
That's great to live by.
Oh yeah, my mom's kind of wise.
Most mommies are.
I know, right? We don't realize that till we're older.
No, not at all. I saw this great thing one time, go figure, on Facebook, and it was now that I'm 23, I've realized everything my parents told me was the truth. Sorry, Mom and Dad.
That was me. Like,
It's like
dang,
you
okay, you were right.
get later on in life and you realize, yeah, they were right. Yep, they were right again. Yep, one more time, Mom and Dad. Thanks a lot.
Like, why didn't I listen to you? Like, what was I going through? That
so
teenage
much further in
angst.
life by now.
When we think we know everything and we know what's best for ourselves, and they're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Call me back in a day.
I won't say I told you so, but I told you so.
Now, how often would you say you paint? Is this something that you do like absolutely full time, or just on the weekends, or?
And like you use different reopening her creative channel and painting here in her studio.
Yes.
Quickly, once again, when can they come by and see your work?
You guys can come by every third Saturday of every month here at Hardy and Nance Studios. It's 902 Hardy Street in Houston, Texas. Every third Saturday from 5 to 9, all the studios will be open. There'll be definitely an art show in the gallery. There's drinks, there's snacks, there's wonderful artistic and creative people that you get to meet. You can come by and have a good time.
Absolutely. So let's give a progress report. Now, I was a little impatient, and I think I fell prey to the blending dark colors. Okay.
Yeah.
But
tried my
and we were
blending.
talking her ear off. Usually she has her music and a peaceful space to get some work done. We kept her talking. So
Me and my one pedal,
a lovely gentle wash of colors over there on the end.
Y'all did great.
So thank you so much for starting us off with a great sketch. And we were able to paint in with our inspiration picture. So
Yeah,
thanks
and everything
again.
you had to say was just so inspirational as
Yes.
well. We so appreciate you being here and showing us your wonderful studio as well as our guests.
Yes. of
And
course.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, that's this installment of When Creativity Calls, wrapped up with some beautiful tiger lilies.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Y'all were awesome.
thank you. All right, bye guys.
Bye.